Hello everyone and welcome back. Right, before you switch off and go, oh, well, it's the same old same, we've seen it before, mate, we've seen it. As you know from the last video, this thing was a bit of a problem. It was driving me nuts. I mean, it wasn't right, it was out of scale, didn't like it, didn't want it, and it was the same for this. Even though I like this part of it, as you can see, it's actually been a bit of a donor for Mark II. Okay, right, so let's have a little look at this. Right, let's get this out of the way. Okay, let's shift that somewhere. Right, here we go. So we know it, we've seen it. There you go. There's the difference. What a massive, massive difference. I hope you all agree with me, but this, just look at the dimensions and the scale of it compared to this, well, I don't know if it was half station, half church, with dodgy, wonky windows and bits of foliage to cover up dodgy work as well. But this one, as I said, I was going to do it out of the card kits. And like I said, I hope you'd agree with me. It looks really, really nice. I'm really pleased with the way it came out. Recycled the chimneys from the last one. As you can see, the chimneys are... Oh, sorry, I keep sticking my hand in the way. But you can see that the chimneys are from the old build. But that is a massive, massive difference to that. And this actually looks like the real one, where this doesn't. This was just dodgy. It was taken on an angle, like I said before, taken on an angle. I couldn't get the dimensions right, but this one. Right, so how do I go about doing it? I bought a packet of this stuff. It's the red brick card. Like I said in my last video, I wanted to make out a card, and it's M0054 in 00 gauge or HO gauge. And basically, you just get sheets of paper in there, but also sheets of like this thicker sort of card. And what I've done, I used 2mm card to measure up the dimensions, and then basically just covered it. Now, I know what you're saying, yeah, the windowsills, mate, I'm sure they're concrete on the real one. They are concrete, but what I didn't want to do is put so much work into this that what I'm going to do is end up spoiling it by trying to paint in the windowsills. It's just the sills, the top part is like a stained colour, but it's this bottom part that gets painted. I'll probably end up painting it because I do want it to look prototypical. Okay, so... I'll tell you what, let's get rid of this. So I've been working on this, but also it wasn't just this that I've done. As you can see, the windows now are straight. The windows are in scale. I even managed to get the brick lining in. When you buy these paper kits, they've got a strip at the bottom. And the strip at the bottom is like the engineering bricks, the Class B purples. And what I've done was got the Stanley blade and carefully run the blade across it so that I could make this lining that represents the brickwork, that lining brick. Okay, and the windows, as you can see, are much better. You know, I've blanked out the toilet window. I've also got blinds in it. But yeah, so... let's just look at the rest. So this is the second part of the station, as you probably already worked out. And as you can see, over the previous one, another massive difference. If you look in there, you've even got a sheet of glass with the serving counter for your tickets and whatnot. I'm still going to detail more in here. I've still got to add an interior to it as well. But as you can see, it's much more in scale. Okay, I mean, if you were to look at this part of it, the actual ticket office part, and then look at that part, you see what I mean? Anyway, So, here we go. There's a full-on shot of it. I just feel much happier as well running the trains around it. Looking at the scale of the train in the stations against the building. Let's try and go over this side. Okay, don't worry about these gaps under, well, not that you can worry about them, but the gaps under, you can see it's just on a bit of uneven wood, that's all, but that's all going to be sorted out. You won't see the gaps underneath there. But like I was saying, you can actually see the actual scale difference. It looks realistic, and it is all in scale now, and it all measures up perfectly. The wind, well, as good as perfect. The windows measure up spot on as well. And how I went about doing it, and I want to say a massive thank you to a few guys. One of them is called Harry Underhill. Now, Harry watches my videos, and I'm really grateful, but I'm even more grateful for what he did for me. He sent me the drawings of this original old station building. They're not the original, obviously, but they're copies of the original drawings. Now, them drawings for this building were done in 1884. And believe it or not, this station wasn't actually supposed to be Upminster Station. This old station building was actually supposed to be built at Hornchurch. Okay, just a few stops down from here for those of you that don't know the area. Yeah, and they decided to put it at Upminster. So the building's been there since 1885. They started work on this. Okay, a few things have changed. Just a quick one, the porch changed. They used to have a porch there, and they knocked it out for this much larger entrance, I suppose due to the amount of traffic with the passengers coming through. Okay, so I want to say a big thank you to him, Harry Underhill. Thanks again for that, for supplying me with the drawings that I worked it out and scaled it down to get it looking the way it looks, which to me looks right. Another one is a guy called Tim. He also sent me a load of photographs, some really nice photographs as well. Some nice black and white ones from 1935 when it was the age of steam. Instead of these monstrosities coming through. But yeah, he sent me a lot of photographs. He didn't want his second name mentioned, but yeah, thanks again for that, Tim. Two really quick ones as well. My uncle Mark and also my uncle Alan Whitlock. I know he tunes in and he likes watching the station and having a chat about the work I've been doing. So anyway, that's all the thanks out of the way. But there you go. I'm trying to sort of pan around, and you know how great my video is. All right. Let's try and get around here. Okay. As you'd appreciate, I've had to recycle most of the roof on it. And you can still see that ugly line, only it's on this side, not that side. I was trying to get the best, you know, what way round am I going to do the roof to try and reduce this seam, this line. But the rest of the roof came out nice. You can see I've done all the flashing. It's only painted into the roof tile colour at the moment. It all still needs weathering in. Okay. Talking of weathering in, you'll see the contrast between the Metcalfe brick paper and my paper. Okay, you can see that it's not got this cartoon. Oh, there's the purple brick. Those purple bricks were the ones I cut into slices to do the band in the brickwork with the Class B engineering. Okay, but you can see the difference in shadings. What I've done, I've actually weathered my ones, make it look a little bit more sort of realistic and not so much of this sort of cartoony look. Okay. As you can see, I've been busy. Something else I've been working on as well, which I've been quite excited about doing, is this signal box. This is the big, it looks like a block of offices, an office block when you look at it in real life. but it's the actual signal box that I'm trying to sort of remodel at Upminster. You can see that I've started on it, but I'm working on the entrance of the doors. In with the doors, the real ones actually got this I-beam, or H-beam if you like, or RSJ going across the top. I still got to paint that in a grey colour. And you can see what I was saying about the difference between brickwork. I mean, look at the brickwork on this one, where it's got all this fresh Metcalfe lovely brickwork on it. Yeah. And then look at this one. In my opinion, I think this one looks much, much better. But let me know in the comments down below which one you think looks better. I personally prefer it a little bit weathered. You can see some water staining running down on that side of it. To be honest, I've actually enjoyed using the card so much more than I enjoyed doing that plastic card brickwork. I don't know, it was a bit of a joy really working with this 2mm card. It was easy to cut, very easy to measure, easy to cut. It done what you wanted it to. Wrap it in a bit of brick paper, and that's it. It turns out really nice. Yeah, well, I think it looks nice anyway, but remember, this one's far from finished. The windows in this one, I didn't try and make my own windows, as you probably guessed. There's no way I'm going to be able to cut windows out that fine. So these again are from Smart Models. These particular windows are, believe it or not, they're roof windows. And basically what I've done with the roof windows is I've cut out the bottom. What was it? I cut out four frames from the bottom. As you can see, the bottom used to match the top, but I carefully got a blade and I cut them out just to give that retro sort of 80s look, office building-y type window. Yeah, but it's coming out all right. I still got to do the top. The top's going to be covered with I don't know what smell meant. Sandpaper to give it that rough sort of textured asphalty look. Yeah. Also, the interior is painted with wooden floors. You can't see it on this camera, and the walls are painted grey until I decide on what I'm doing with the interior, if I'm going to light it up. Those of you that know this building are looking and saying, Lee, that has got a few more windows than that one, mate. It's actually got 8 windows going across this way. But to be honest, we're talking about a model railway, and those of you that know that are, well, actually good at land track know that you can't actually get prototypical. It is a railway, it's in a much smaller scale, and we've got to go with what we got. And what I didn't want was this signal box. Absolutely, they're not staying there, by the way, this stuff, Metcalfe stuff. I didn't want it sort of dominating. So as soon as you get up into the loft and look at the model railway, I didn't want to see one great big long office block going across there. It just wouldn't look right. Yeah, so anyway, so you can probably appreciate, those of you that scratch build, well, not even scratch build, but just work on your railways. This is what my time's been doing over the past month. Well, my spare time. Okay, that and that. And this takes this nice glass framed square box that sort of hangs over the edges with the London Underground sign underneath it with Upminster on it. That's still to come. And there's a smaller sort of building on the top. I think it was Tim told me that it was actually the training rooms up there, but he'll probably correct me. Yeah, so there's still a lot of work to do on this one. And also on this island here, I've also been taking photographs, and just up this end here, it looks like it was a waiting room with some toilets. I've also took a photograph, and I'm going to be working on that once I finish working on this. Okay, so the idea is to finish this and work on this. Okay. Weathering the gantries is another big thing I need to work on, and also these little feet. These little feet, I don't really like them. Okay, it don't look. What is it? There's what is it, Rouse or there's something. Anyway, but he's got them on his layout, and it actually don't look too bad. But I don't like them, so I was thinking of cutting that off. It has to be cut off. I've got to lose this ugly foot on it, and maybe magnetise, and it looks like it goes straight into the platform. Talking of platforms, I wasn't actually over happy with the colour of the platform. It's a little bit of a dark grey. When you look at other model railways, most of them in fact, it's not like this dark grey, it's a much lighter grey. And I was thinking about doing it, and then I thought, well, it's going to clash with the roof on this, it's going to clash with these, and I thought actually it doesn't actually look too bad being that darker colour. So let us know what you think in the comments. Is the platform colours too dark? I'm just not sure. When you look at this stuff as much as I do, when you're actually doing the modelling, you just don't actually know. You just don't know. All right, so let us know, guys, what you think, because you know that I answer everyone on the comments, and I do really value what you say, and I do listen to yous. Now, just before I sign off, guys, I really need your help on this one. Now, this is my Bachmann Class 37. Okay, now it's already chipped. You've seen it going around the layout. It's already chipped. But what I had this Hornby TTS decoder. Looking online, you can buy these adapters. I bought this adapter from Roads and Rails. Anyway, I bought it off eBay from Roads and Rails, and I plugged it all in. I've tried the decoder around this way, and I've turned it around the other way, because I've sort of found that one out the hard way, that they only go in one way. But it works. It works and it runs. But my problem is there's no sound coming out of it. Now, I don't know if my camera's going to be good enough to look at this, but if you look just down here, hold up, sorry about the shaking, I'm just trying to zoom in. There's two soldering points with a speaker. Now those two soldering points, when I've tried to read up on the internet, it's saying that you take the two speaker wires from the decoder and you hardwire them, you solder them to these 2 points here. My question to you guys is, if I start chopping around with this TTS decoder and ruining it, what do you mean 2 wires? Do I cut it in half, and with the speaker wire to the speaker, do I solder that on there? Or I don't know. I just don't get. I've looked at instructions online. I just don't get. I've tried to ring this Roads of Rail several times, and he or she don't get back to my calls, and it's just being ignored. But I just want to know what I do here. How do I get the sound to work? As you can see, it's all plugged in correctly as well. Everything's plugged in, but just no sound. So my quick question before I go, because I know these are really helpful, do I cut the wire in half and just wire the speaker straight onto that, or is there another way around it? Okay, because I just can't work it out, and I don't want to short something out.